Perfect. Okay, so everybody, today I have two guests with me today. You get a two for the price of one. We have both Oren and Tomer Levy, and I'm excited about talking. I'm excited to talk with these gentlemen today about fitness, wellness, and about science-based and evidence-based training. So, welcome, brothers. Thank you very much for joining me today.
What's up, Chris?
Thank you for having us, Chris.
Not a problem, not a problem. I hope that things are not too busy for you guys back home in Israel, and I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. So without further ado, let's get right to it, all right? So,
sure.
First question I have for you gentlemen. Actually, this is my first question before the first question. Who's older?
You guess.
You have to guess.
I have to guess.
But we'll give you a clue. Look at our earlobes. We have the same earlobe, but something is a little different.
So you guys, well, even if you are twins, still somebody has to be the first one out. Who is the first one out?
Yes, that's correct. You just have to guess. You have a 50-50 chance of guessing.
Okay.
So what is going to be?
I'm going to say Oren's the older one.
Most people say that, but actually it's me.
Really? Okay.
I'm 1 year and 8 months older than Oren.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. Okay,
but so then everybody tells us that we look like twins, like you said.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
If the hair is different and you're wearing glasses, but without that, you guys definitely look like twins.
No.
There you go. All right. So tell me, gentlemen, how long have you been involved with fitness training?
And should I be taking this one?
We can both say it in the same time. 1, 2, 3, 10 years.
11 years.
This is the 1 year that
Close
he's
enough.
older than me. He completed.
There you go. Now, so you've both been doing this for about a decade, and prior to you actually starting training, did you guys have any experience, like, sports or any kind of organized anything like that kind of steered you in that direction, or was this something that just kind of came out of the blue?
Tomer started it before me. He was an athlete. He does sprints. He'll elaborate on this later, but I saw him trained one day. He bought like a little weight from, just a second.
5 kilos.
This that weight. So this is the evolution.
Yes.
He started with 5 kg. This is the more advanced. So he bought it. Tell him the story, Tomer.
So the story is, I was really eager to start training. I was 15 and a half, and I saw like people getting like, a little bit of muscle, and I said, okay, I should too. And I took my allowance, and I took my bicycle, and I just rode to the first store that sold a weight, and I was like driving all the way back on like this, one weight was like on the one side of the bicycle, and I was like driving home, and yeah, that's where it all started. And we're also trained this with this exact weight, and you are today.
There we go. So so you started first. So how long was it before you actually, when you saw him with the weight, how long was it before you also said, hey, I got to do that same thing?
So I saw him trained like 2 years or 1.5 years, and I said, wow, he builds muscle, and I want muscle also. This is the age when you see everybody and you want to impress them also. So you train. And after that, we got into the army, because here in Israel, you have to go to the army. Mm-hmm. And then Tomer did
I was a combat sports instructor in an elite unit in the Air Force here.
Mm-hmm.
And I also did a kind of a course for a gym course, a personal trainer course in the army.
Mhm.
and was a fighter, combat fighter. And
Okay.
that brought us to the world of exercise.
When you say combat fighter, was that specifically Krav Maga or different discipline?
It wasn't like Krav Maga, but very nice for of the knowledge. Very, but it was like, איך אני מסביר, תומר? I'm trying to explain the definition.
It was
להיות
like
לוחם,
you're also gathering intelligence, and while you're at it, you'll also, fighting crime, as a soldier, So it's both sides. You're also like you're training when you have to train, and you also do the protect your country while
Okay.
you're at it.
Okay, so, but before you were in the military, so when is compulsory military service? 18? Is that 18 years old?
Yeah.
Okay, so you,
everybody has to get recruited to the Israeli army, the Israel of Defense.
yes, and is what is minimum mandatory service? 2 years?
3.
3 years. Okay.
For boys and 2 years for girls.
Okay, and did you guys do the minimum or did you stay longer?
We did the minimum.
So we both did 3 years.
Okay.
But in Israel, you also do, excuse me for cutting you there, you also do reserve
Yes.
duty,
Yeah.
which means if they call you and they need to call you and you need to get there, so you do it. And we both went to the reserves year after year, and it's part of being a citizen here in Israel.
Yes. Are you still reserves now?
Yes.
So I am also a reservist in the Canadian military as well. So and in fact, in February, I'll be going for just for 1 week to teach orthopedics and trauma stuff for military personnel in February. So
That's amazing.
I'm aware of the reserve duties. You see. So tell me, obviously you did the mandatory training or mandatory military enrollment at 18, but you had started when you were like 15, going on at 16. So what was the impetus at that time, Tomer, for you first starting? Was it just because you wanted, to get jacked, look good for the girls, or was it because of track? Was it, for sports? What was the reason that made you start?
So I would say everything combined. You want to be healthy, you want to look good, you want to, be able to do stuff the best way your body is like enabling you. So if it's competing for your school, and I was competing for my school at sprinting, as Oren said before, I'm an athlete. I run 100 meters dash, and doing some pull-ups, and we both also trained before getting to the army, because prior to the army, because we wanted to be like get to the army as the best shape as we could, most shape as we could be, and that was also like a fourth reason why we also trained. We want to be the best.
Yes.
Best version of yourself.
No doubt. So when you look at your cohort of friends, okay, prior to going into the military, when you were working out, what percentage of your cohort or your group of friends was into fitness? Were they all into fitness, or was this something, that a majority of them were doing, or even just were you like kind of the outlier in your group?
So I think we were the outlier of our groups. Not everybody was into fitness. I think in Israel, especially, like we have a YouTube channel that it's the biggest fitness YouTube channel in Israel, but there's not a lot of fitness Israeli channels. I think there is like 2 more. So back then, I think there was none of a fitness YouTube channel. So a lot of people didn't knew about it. So I think that we started to train. Also the gyms there were not a lot of gyms in Israel at that time. But now, איך אומרים מודעות, תומר? Awareness. Now the awareness of fitness has become greater. So now more gyms are opening every day, and we are uploading more videos, and more people are joining in a younger stage, younger ages, 12, 11. We even train 10 years olds. Mm-hmm.
So so how long have you had your YouTube channel for?
6 years now.
6 years. Okay. So quite some time. And now let's talk a little bit about the training that you guys do. Okay. So you when I go through all of your material on YouTube and whatnot on Instagram, you guys have a combination of training approaches, right? So you have conventional strength training, you have calisthenics, you have body weight training. So two questions with respect to that. Number one, what is your favorite training modality? And then number two, which do you think, generally speaking, is most effective? And I realize that each is more, maybe most effective for a particular task, but in general, which is most effective?
I think we both combine the weight training and calisthenics in our training. If I had to choose one, I would choose the weight training, because I think there are more variations. When you go to the gym, you have the pulleys, which give you different vectors and different pulling forces, and you have the weights, and you can increase the weights by little bit. But if you do push-ups, you do push-ups, but what's next? One hand push-up, it's too hard. If you go to a bench press, you can increase the weight by 2 pounds, 5 pounds, etc. So I think the variations you have in a gym are more, there are more variability. So I think I prefer the gym personally, but I do both in my training.
And same with you, Tomer?
Yeah, on the same page here.
Okay. And so you mentioned that you combined both calisthenics and the body and the strength training. So if there is increased variability with the weights in the gym, why bother with calisthenics at all?
People don't sweat on your equipment. That's one pro.
Yeah. Also that, and the fact that you wanna refresh, you want to do some other stuff, and it's fun, going out there, doing something else, and combine everything,
Working also in close pain.
Yeah, and you can work on stuff that you might not able to do at gyms. For example, muscle ups, which is a very good exercise. Most gyms, I mean, I don't know, maybe some gyms can, but in the gyms that we train at, the bar is really high, like to the ceiling, and it's hard to do it. So yeah, we combine everything. That's why we also go out there and do some calisthenics.
Now, when you think about, and you touched on this a little bit before, but when you talk about your reason for training, are you guys training for function? Are you training for aesthetics primarily? What's your number one goal?
Oh, so the number one goal is actually, first of all, not aesthetics. You want to be functional. You want to get your base as high as you can, so it will be a good base. Like when you grow older, you'll have a good bone structure, and the ligaments and everything will be like strong and good. And then that's when you start doing it. Young age, then you get injured less when you grow older. That's the first main reason. I think I'm also speaking for our, and we both train. And second reason is aesthetics. Also, yeah, you can say aesthetics. Looking good is nice.
You can say aesthetics with my tank top on when you see my muscles. You can also say aesthetics if you want, but you don't have to.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's it,
Yeah.
no, it's funny though, I often have patients, people ask us about, oh, training to make this look better, training to look better. But I say to them, why don't you look to these athletes in these different sports who are all training for function, right? And I say, would you want to trade bodies with them? And almost invariably they say yes. And I said, interestingly enough, none of those people are training for aesthetics, but they happen to look good as well, right? You train for function, and guess what? Aesthetics comes along, with it.
It's a bonus.
It's a bonus, right? You don't have to train for it specifically. You just train to be functional, and guess what? You happen to look good as well, right?
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
And people spend so much time trying to look good, and I just think, just learn to lift heavy shit, and you'll be all right.
Chris, I see also in your Instagram, you do dips every time before a surgery, right?
I do dips, I do squats, I do whatever. It's funny because obviously I'm creating content for social media, but I'm always active and I'm doing stuff, and people will come out in the hallway, and I'll be doing stuff in between cases, and they look at me like I'm strange, but it's like, I'm trying to, as you say, be functional. I'm a few years older than you guys, and
1 year or 2 years.
Exactly, one or 2 years,
tops.
1 or 2 years. But I think when I'm 70, right, 80 or whatever, I want to be able to play with my grandkids, right? I want to be able to run. I want to be able to lift weights. I want to be able to jump. I wanted to do stuff. And the only way to do that is, as you say now, to build a baseline and that is as robust and as high as possible, right? So that my bone density is good, the resilience of my ligaments and my tendons is high, my muscles are not only strong, but they are flexible, pliable, and you have to take time to do that now, right? Because over time, over time is the enemy that you cannot defeat, right? You can't defeat time. And so it takes its toll, and you have to do whatever you can to put up as best the defense as possible when you're young, So the thing that I said to you guys before we started recording is that I like the evidence-based approach, okay? And you guys use an evidence-based approach to fitness that is grounded in science. So please explain to me, why is that? Is this because of, I don't know what your backgrounds are outside of training, but is this because of a love of science inquiry, or is this more of out of a necessity to improve the training efficiency? Like, why the science-based approach?
So I think a lot of people are living by cognitive biases. We all believe what we see. It's like a naive realism. And if I trip in my language by English, so excuse me. I don't know if you can tell, but English isn't my first language.
Sometimes people say English is not my first language either, so don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure. So people always try to find a cause where there is only correlation. Like, if I sit like this today, tomorrow my back hurts, I think, oh, this is because I sat like this yesterday, but pain is multifactorial. There is a lot of factor. We need to think that not everything that is correlated has a causation also. So a lot of people try to think like this, like, I'm not losing weight. Why? Because you're not in a calorie deficit. But if no one explains this to them, I think a lot of people tries to run to a lot of places and believe something specific. So the evidence-based approach minimize the cognitive bias that we people have. And I think it's very important that a lot of people will hear the evidence-based practice things and read research themselves in order to understand that not everything that is correlated is also as a cause between them.
Mhm. So uh, obviously, when you guys were 15 and 16 years old, you weren't thinking, oh my goodness, I have to use evidence-based approach, right? So at what point, right, and I can think back to when I was that age, and I'm just like, okay, lift heavy shit. He's lifting that, I'm gonna lift it, and I'm gonna do exactly, or I'm gonna try and do more. So at what point did you guys say, okay, enough of what we're doing? This is like, we have to approach this differently. At what point did you decide, okay, I got to use science?
So it happened at September 2016 when we opened the channel. And the reason is, when you're talking to a crowd, when you're talking to many people, we didn't know we will get that far. Like we went to, like we are today. That today we're almost 200,000 subscribers. But you want to be as accurate as possible, because you don't want people to get injured. You don't want people to get the wrong information, and you have a responsibility. And yeah, you have to be as accurate as you can. So that's when we started doing like the science-based approach.
And I want to add something. A couple of months ago, so I want to add to what Tomer said. A couple of months ago, there was a news article here in Israel that talks about avocados. Okay, it was like avocados can help you lose weight if you eat them, which is counterintuitive, because if you eat them, how can they help you lose weight? So they like showed an article, showed the research, but in the news channel, but they didn't read it. So there was an I said that there was an article that if you eat avocados, you can lose weight, because avocado is this is what the research said. But after that, we dug into the research, and you see that only if you are in a calorie deficit, you lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say that in the news. So we made a video, because it's important to us that everybody will realize that this is the reason. And the research was funded by the avocado board. So
there you go. So what are your backgrounds outside of fitness training, more specifically with respect to education? Do either of you have formal training in education?
Yeah. So I have the first degree in physical education, and I also did a course that a basic course that teaches you how to be a personal trainer. And yeah, we read and research every day. And Oren also has this approach. He's reading books every day. He's widening his area of expertise of every new research that comes out. He's there. He reads it, he learns from it, and he can tell you some of them by heart, just like this now. So we never stop, getting updated and learning and learn, and be as educated as you can be.
Yes. No, I think that this is very, very important. But one of the things that I think is that I appreciate when I look at what you guys do, you guys offer what I'm going to use a term. I didn't coin the term. Okay, somebody else did. But you guys offer what I call edutainment. Okay, and it is educational content, but in an entertaining fashion, right? Because the things that you are talking about, all of the science, the data, and all of that, when you read it, unless you're interested in that stuff, it's very dry. It's very dry. It's not engaging material. It's important, but it's not engaging. the trick is figuring out how to take that material, make it presentable to somebody so that somebody who doesn't have that science background, educational background, is going to be engaged with it. And you guys do that very well. And so that's why, you know, I wondered about what kind of formal education training you have, because some people are just good at teaching, you know what I mean? And, you know, I'm sure you guys have had the same experience as me, that there are people who have been your teachers, and I'm sure they knew shit. I'm sure they knew their stuff, but they were not good teachers, right? And then there were other people who are just natural. And I think the two of you are natural teachers, even, you know, even if you don't necessarily have formal training in teaching. I think you are both natural teachers. And that's something I don't, perhaps you can teach it, but I think you have to be born with it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, thank you very much.
now, when you started your YouTube channel, so you started it in 2016. What was the thing that said, you know, okay, we're going to start a fitness channel on YouTube, no less? Why did you decide to do that?
I think from the day we were born, we always wanted to show ourselves to the world. I think I'm talking, I think Tomer agrees with me. So one day we sat on the sofa and I told him, look, in Israel, there are not a lot of fitness YouTube channels. So I think if we film a little video, I'm editing the videos. So I told him, I'll edit the video and we film a little video and let's see what happens. What can possibly go wrong? So we filmed the video and I told him, there is a catch. If I press the share button now, you have to see me every week until the day you say goodbye. And we need to do it forever. We need to upload forever because we are both brothers. We both love doing fitness and teaching fitness. We both like do even the same practices. Like we both like arm wrestling. We both like bodybuilding. We both like calisthenics. We love the same things. So it's a great combination in order to teach people. So I told him, I don't think in the world there are even two brothers that teach fitness. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with it's very special. Let's do it. Yes. So we said 3, 2, 1. I pressed the share button, and now until today, we're stuck together.
There you go. That's good. Listen, all of what you said is important, but the most important part of that, is that you two brothers are spending time together to do this, right? And the fitness message, the education message, that's all important. But the most important message, the most important part of this is that the two of you are doing this together, right? Blood is.
We also went to the Ninja Warrior show. Israel Ninja Warrior.
Together.
We
went together. Yeah.
Good. See, this is the thing I'm talking about, man. This is important. And just as an aside, how far apart, how far do you guys live apart from each other?
15 minutes.
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
Nothing.
And so then when you are filming your content, it's relatively easy to get together, like to match schedules to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have like a regular schedule. So we know that every Sunday we film. So sometimes I go to his city, sometimes he goes to mine. So we're pretty much on that.
Okay. And apart from when you film together on Sundays, do you guys see each other the rest of the week at all?
Yeah, 2 more days a week, every week. So practically like half of the week we're spending time together. So
okay. This is good. And I think that, as you said, I'm not sure if there are other brothers that are teaching fitness on the internet. So that is a special thing. But as I said,
Chris, you can be our third brother that films with us. I think it will be awesome.
A brother from another mother.
Nice. Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
listen, you know, I cannot stress, over stress how special I think that is, that YouTube Brothers are doing this, for so many reasons. But just the family thing, that it makes me smile, and it makes me feel good in my heart for that you guys are doing that together, right?
Thank you.
So tell me now, why, you know, there's, I guess 2016 YouTube was the biggest one, but and YouTube seems to be your primary platform, but why YouTube primarily as opposed to, you know, Instagram or TikTok, or what? TikTok is later, but why YouTube primarily?
We actually started on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Together with YouTube, like in a parallel state, YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
But we sent Facebook away some on the way.
Okay. So, and do you guys do TikTok? I haven't seen you on TikTok. Do you do TikTok as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to.
Owen has a nice TikTok page of 130,000, maybe
116.3, but who's asking?
but who's counting? Yeah.
Who's counting? Who's asking and who's counting?
There you go. See, that's how you know, like, 116 is nothing to sneeze at, but that's how you know we're still little fish, right? Because if we were like Cabby Lame or something, they're like, oh, you know, 12 million, 13 million. Like we're still counting the 0.1. So, you know, but it's,
oh yeah. And
everybody has
your
to start.
previous question, excuse me for cutting you. We forgot to answer your previous question. Why YouTube?
Yeah.
So YouTube is a platform where you can get to your crowd the best way and get they can see videos that are longer, and they can connect to you, and
like
once they
TV
connect
show.
to you, yeah, it's like a little TV show. And on Instagram, for example, you didn't have that back then.
Mhm.
Also on TikTok, it was like a 1 minute, and on YouTube you can do as much time as you want. And in order to get these videos out that contain science-based information, you have to give a nice length, at least, you know, a few minutes of content out there.
Mhm.
So these are some of the reasons. Or anything else? Well, yeah, we chose YouTube over.
I think also in Facebook, why we did Facebook, but so in YouTube, it's very easy to find you. You can write your name. Everybody can write any topic on a search bar, and then they can see you. In Facebook, I don't think it's like it's not like a search thing. Facebook, you want to see posts of other people. It's a social media, but not like in a kind of you don't see like Justin Bieber. He doesn't sing on Facebook. He uploads it to YouTube.
Mhm.
So everybody knows that they can find him there. So I think YouTube is like a platform, and you have the sub count, which give you a motivation. I think it's a combination of everything that Tomer said and what I said right now. And on Instagram, back then you have a limitation. You had a limitation of just 1 minute. Now you have the IGTV option that where you upload the interviews. So, but back then I think 1 minute was the tops, and this is why we uploaded the YouTube.
Okay. So now let's talk about the content that you create. Okay. So I know that there are a number of reasons why you do what you do. You've mentioned a little bit, but if you had to think about your single primary goal, so what is the goal, the single primary goal, or the most important goal of the content that you guys create for YouTube? If you had to
do another collaboration.
If you only, well, that's good. I appreciate that. But no, listen, if you only had to do one thing you could only achieve one thing, what is it that you are trying to achieve with the content you create?
So that would be help and get to as many people as possible, to get the most current and correct information possible. And they can use it, and it's a great help. Once
And
they
I'll add something else if you're done. Reaching to as much to a larger distribution of people, like age 60 and age 6 needs to train. Both end of the spectrums needs to train, needs to resistance train to prevent sarcopenia if you're at a higher age, or to build yourself better if you are younger. I think the knowledge needs to spread out at the wider distribution. Both young and old, and the older adults needs to do it, and this is our purpose.
And one thing that I think that is very wonderful about what you just said, there are so many fitness influencers who want to give information to people, and they want to train, but they focus, they have a much more narrow focus, right? So they want to look good, they want to train hard and look good for the calisthenic crowd, for the young people, whatever, right? And I think what you just said, I think is wonderful, in that you recognize that weight training, resistance training, strength training is important for everybody, not just the young, it's the old as well. And the reasons why is that it is important is different for each demographic, but it's important for everybody. And so, the two of you talked about being able to get that information out to as wide a demographic as possible. And that is, I think, very, very important, and a very, very valuable point that you bring up. If you're looking back now, so you've been doing this for, almost 6 years. And that's a lot of research that you've done around not only how to exercise, but the actual science behind the exercise. So I'm sure there are a ton of things that you could talk about, but tell me, what are some of the general problems that the two of you have observed with the fitness industry while you have been creating content for YouTube? Let's say, what are your top 3 complaints about the fitness industry based on what you've learned during this time?
I think the first thing is a lot of logical fallacies that people fall into that prevents them for expanding their knowledge. This is, if I understand your question right? You said, what is the most thing that's important to us to? So if it's like a appeal to authority, or appeal to nature, or every fallacy that gives people the credibility to think that this is one thing that it is right and nothing else is right. So my mother told me that if I drink milk, my bones will collapse. So she's right. I think number one job when we upload our videos is to take people out of the box and let them think critically, develop this critical thinking at a lot of at a wide range of fans, of watchers, of viewers.
Yes. Then, and what else? What are other things you've noticed?
Tomer, you want, or me?
No, you can take this one.
So we noticed that a lot of people, when they watch the video, like you mean what we noticed that at people that watch videos?
It doesn't mean necessarily need to be people that watch your videos, but just as a whole, what you've learned or what you've seen with respect to educating people about fitness on YouTube.
Can you give an example?
Well, let's say, so one of the, here's an example. Okay. I can't remember his name. I think his name is Chris Chris Herrera, who's a calisthenics guy. Okay. And if you and he is jacked. Obviously, he can do a lot of calisthenics skills. So he has spent a lot of time doing this. But if you listen to his videos, and now, and I have to preface this by saying he can do way more skills, calisthenics skills, than I can. Okay. Now, if you listen to him though, you'll see that his understanding of the actual science of fitness is not very high, right? And lots of people will listen to him. And so if he said something about fitness and another person says something about fitness, who is giving science-based information, okay, but he only has 10,000 subscribers, people are going to say, what do you know? Look at this guy, Chris. Obviously, he knows more than you, even though people who understand science are going, that's not good what he's saying. But
okay, I understand.
You know what I mean? You can't really the internet, YouTube, society as a whole, they go, oh, he has more subscribers, so he must know more. You know what I mean?
You know, Chris, this reminds me the evidence-based pyramid, when you have case studies down there, and then the RCTs up there, and then the systematic reviews, the meta-analysis, and on the top, that guy's from Instagram. Everything, and that shirtless guy from Instagram is more than the meta-analysis. So I think you're absolutely right, because we see a lot of people that if he's shirtless and he has 100,000 subscribers, and I'm with a shirt or a rope or in my underwear, it doesn't matter, but I have only one subscriber, but I don't look as good as him, which is like a ad hominem fallacy. So he's right from the get-go by default.
Yes.
So yeah, I know what you mean. We see this a lot on TikTok.
If we're also talking about that topic, yeah. So yesterday we filmed the video, Oren and I together, and one of the topics that we talked about on the video was massage guns.
Yes.
And you know, while we were at it, you know, looking for stuff about it out there, researching, we saw a few figures on YouTube. Some of them were doctors that were actually talking about the massage gun and how good it is, and how good it is in solving so many problems. You know, everything. It can solve. It's a magic problem.
Yes.
Yeah, everything.
Cancer.
And as you can see at the end of the video, or like at the middle of it, I don't know where exactly, different points of the video, they actually do a commercial for this product. You know, they promote it.
Yes.
So one of the reasons is one of the things that you said, or the three things, people that maybe know that this exact product doesn't do what they say it does, but they promote it anyway. So getting influenced by money and commercials, you know. So that's also a topic that we want to see less, I guess, out there. It should motivate people to say the wrong stuff, and yeah, that's also like another reason.
Yes, it's funny. I have been approached by many companies to promote various products, and my viewpoint is the same as yours, but I think my viewpoint is this because I am fortunate enough that I have a career outside of what I do for YouTube, so that I don't have to worry about YouTube as my primary source of income. Yes, because maybe I would say something different if YouTube were my only source of income. But it's, on the one hand, it's nice to know that, hey, a company wants to pay you to promote a product, right? But there has been Theragun companies that have contacted me, supplement companies that have contacted me, all sorts of stuff where it's like, I think, yeah, this product is not harmful, but the evidence doesn't support its use, and so I just don't feel comfortable promoting that and saying anything other than that. And sometimes I want to say to these companies, listen, if you want to pay me to say that I don't think your product is any better than placebo, sure, I'll take your money. but usually,
Honesty right there.
but usually
They
they
usually don't
want to
take that deal.
Yeah, usually they don't want to do that. So I just decline, but and that's the thing, right? Like you see on the internet, there are so many different types of fitness. There are so many different modalities. There are so many different approaches. And I'm not an expert in everything. I don't know everything. I don't. And I'm the first one to tell you that. But I'm sure if you were to take different approaches, different modalities, different tools, whatever, there is probably some element of good in each of those things. But do they do what they are purported to do? I doubt it. You know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, sure, you can use that, but I tell my patients, I say to them, I'm not that smart. I'm a simple guy. I like to keep things simple, make it easy to understand, right? And I think that if you take things, you distill them down to their basic components, right? Then that is generally what is going to be true. That is generally going to be what's effective. And that is generally going to give people the most results, right? And I believe I'm a believer of the Pareto principle, and the Pareto principle applies to many different areas. Fitness is just one, but it is true. It applies to many things. And for people, those who are listening who don't know what the Pareto principle is, it's the 80-20%. 80-20% rule. And basically what that means is that 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of the work that you put in, right? And so, to me, that just means that there are a few fundamental concepts, a few fundamental approaches and techniques that will give you most of the work. And instead of trying to run around and go, oh my God, should I do PRP? Should I do stem cells? Should I do this? Should I do creatine? Just do the simple shit. And that's going to cover you for most everything. And this other stuff up here, it's like bonus, right? Like if you have a good foundation, you have all this other stuff done, and you still have free time and you want to try this other stuff, then knock yourself out, right? But the simple stuff that is grounded in science, stuff that has evidence, that's the stuff that I think most people should be doing,
I couldn't agree more.
So here's a question, because I get this a lot in my comments, and I'm sure that you guys do as well. Some viewers are very critical of fitness channels that call out other channels on their content, right? Because it's not fact-based or whatever. And so I see this a lot. I collaborated with you guys on a chiropractic video. And if you look at all the comments in all of my chiropractic videos, there's quite a few that are very negative, because people are like, oh, you should have more respect, blah, blah, blah. This guy's a professional. Why are you calling these people out? So tell me, what are your, what has been your own experience with your own channel? And what are your thoughts on calling out stuff that you see as bullshit? And let me preface that by saying, to me, I think for myself, I think that I serve the greater good by calling out bullshit. And it's not that I hold myself above anybody else. People want to be critical of me, they can. But I think that I serve the greater good. Instead of it's more important for me to call out bullshit than for me to just say in my head, that's bullshit, and keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. So I agree with what you said, and I'll add something to it. And I think, and I'll tell you my opinion. So if a person uploads a video and he said something that is not evidence-based and everybody believes him, I'll take this video and I'll say my opinion. But if we do a video together, or if I do a video on my TikTok alone, if I'm doing a video on the topic of on this other person's videos, I'm not attacking him, I'm attacking the claims. So so this is the most important thing, I think, to attack the claim and not the person that talks about the claim. And if I'm attacking the claim, I'm not telling my opinion, I'm telling the evidence-based information. So people tell me, you're going against it. No, I'm just telling we're just giving the research, the evidence-based research that is most up to date. We're not like cherry pick or something, or tell you our opinions and attack something just because we woke up in this morning and what we're going to do today, let's eliminate someone. No, we want to we want to do something because we want to help people, and we don't give our opinion, we give the information, the evidence-based information. So it's not that we're attacking. So if somebody goes to tell us, you're attacking, you're doing this and doing that, you have the information in the doobly-doo, you can read it. You have the information down there in the description, you can read it also.
Yes.
After you read it, and if you want, and if you have another claim that you have like a counter claim, talk to us, give us, talk to us in evidence-based information, and let's see your information.
Yes.
Kindly, of course.
No, I like that. And I have said to people before, I don't think that this person is a bad person. I think they're trying to do whatever they know or that they think is appropriate. But the evidence suggests that what they're doing is not effective, right? And I have said that exact same thing. I'm happy to learn. If you have information or content that suggests otherwise, that is more up to date, please share that with me, right? So now let me. So my next question, okay? This is a perfect segue to this, okay? There's lots of evidence there. No, I shouldn't say evidence. There is lots of information that is available for people to review. Okay. Do you think that viewers should be able to sift through the data themselves to determine what is accurate and what is not? And do you think, and if so, do you think that viewers are actually suitably equipped to do this? Right? Because when I speak to you, it is clear that your level of understanding of data and research is higher than many people who may be watching the videos, right? So what is the level of responsibility that we should afford to the patient, or not the patient, to the people watching, to be able to figure out what is good data, and what level of responsibility is it for us to say, this over here is not good data, that's shit, this is good? What level? Who's responsible?
Tomer, you want to answer? Okay,
no, you can take it.
So I think there, like you said, there's a lot of information out there. There are like news articles, and there are YouTube videos, and you can't always like trust everybody. So when we give the information, I think, like you said, most of the people can't read research. There is a lot of things you need to learn in order to know how to read the research. Like we said earlier, there is a pyramid of research. If I'm reading a case study, I can't I can't generalize it because it's just a case study. It's one case out of 8 trillion people in the planet. So billion, not trillion. But maybe one day. So it can't be that everybody can read it. So I think the best approach and the responsibility is to give people the information, and this is what we always do. We give people the information, and for further reading, we add in the description like a summarize or something that is easy to understand, even for the average viewer to read. But I think most of the people, yeah, it's very hard to learn how to read research and to know that we need enough people in the research, n equals not one but a lot of people, to in order to have a high availability, high count of people.
Yes.
I think we have this responsibility, but also the people that watch our videos needs to know that they can do it too. And we try to do it by summarizing the information below and give further reading and on what we can explain easily.
It, before Tomer came on, we chatted a little bit about COVID, right? And it's interesting when you see, and there may be some of this in Israel, but a lot of what is in Canada and the United States, people say, oh, well, I saw this article and it said this. It said ivermectin works, or it said that this happens with the vaccine, whatever. And trying to explain to people, yes, that was a case study, or yes, that study was a retrospective analysis, with an N of 50 versus a double-blinded, randomized, controlled study, prospective study with an N of 15,000, right? And the two do not mean the same thing. Even if this study over here said ivermectin was, and I shouldn't pick on ivermectin, but that's just something that's on the top of my head, right? Even if this little retrospective review or this case study said, oh, ivermectin is beneficial, that does not have the same weight as this article over here. People go, it's a study. Yeah, and so it's not the same thing, right? Or a meta-analysis of 1,500 studies. You know what I mean? The results are not the same, but it's kind of challenging to be able to explain to people that all research is not the same, right? It's all not the same.
And you can cherry pick. Some people cherry pick the less good of research. So
we try to tell people that even if you have like 10 studies, one can deviate the results also, but it doesn't mean that the evidence is there. Like there is a lot of, like you said, meta-analysis, systematic reviews, umbrella reviews that collects in them a lot of it's a meta-analysis of meta-analysis. So there are a lot of evidence, and I think people, it's a nice point that you said, because I think it's a good idea, Chris. It's a good idea that we can help people understand and give them a guideline on how to read research, but in a superficial way, not in a profound way.
No, I think that's important. I haven't, this is on my list of things to do. I haven't got around to it yet, but I'm trying to get, Mo Bandari is the most prolific orthopedic researcher in Canada, okay? If not in the world. And this guy, I'm trying to I want to get him on an interview like this, because I want him to, he understands research like it, to him, that's like breathing air, right? It's second nature. And I want to say to him, please give me some tools that I can give to the average person so that they can say, when they read something in the paper, or they read something in the article, or they read something on the internet, they can have 3 or 4 rules that they can use to say, this is good research. This is shit. Don't listen to this, right? Because I think people need to have that. And at least, you may not specifically say to people, oh, this is what to do, this is how to do it. But one of the things that I like most about what you guys are doing is that you are showing people these various articles and going through the results and getting people to understand, oh, well, we're not necessarily talking oranges here. This over here is different than this, and why that's important. So I think that is, I appreciate what you guys do in that regard.
People can believe everything. We have a video that we talked about. So there was a news report in Israel, a morning show of a woman that came and told everybody, listen, people, I drink my urine and it helps my hair, and it helps my ears, and it helps my, sorry, but you didn't eat or something, so I allowed myself to talk.
It's good, it's good.
So you don't puke at us.
No, it's good, it's good. I can handle that.
So we took this in a video and said how people can tell if she's right or not. It was in a morning show on a TV. She said, drink your pee. You can do something beautiful to your hair. You can cure ear infections and everything. So we try to give a little guideline to people on what to believe and what not to believe. Like if you have a little number on a study, if you see in a newspaper, 3 people ran and their quads exploded from muscles. So see how many people are in the study. See if there are trained people versus untrained people. Look forward after the effect of the study. If it's a meta-analysis, the effect. Like if you take caffeine, there is effect, but it's not small. It's not big. It's small to moderate effect if you want to improve your performance. So a little guidelines.
Yes, no, I think this is very important. And as an extension from that, do you see, like, if you think about people's ability to take information about fitness, so if they look at data about fitness, do you see any similarities between that and their ability to critically appraise information on COVID? Okay, two totally disparate topics, but both, there's so much information out there about both of these things. Do you see any similarities between people's ability to critically appraise this information?
I think it's a little harder to get, for the regular Joe, to get the latest information about the latest research on fitness, more than the COVID stuff, because COVID now, it has been for the past year and a half a very big topic. So everything is out there, so we're going back to when we talked about if the regular person can get to Google Scholar and start researching for the latest research. So as we said before, it's not that easy, and when people do it, do they find the best research, and so on and so on. So I would say I think COVID stuff is like more out there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's not it.
Well, I certainly think the volume of stuff is there. But again, it's very hard for people to critically appraise, and as we talk about COVID, I think about For a while, there was a lot of pushback about people here in Canada and the United States about the vaccines because they said, oh, look at in Israel, look at the study. They said vaccines don't work because in Israel, the infection rates are going down and the whole population is vaccinated. But, you know, when you look at it, people didn't take into account, well, in Israel, most of the population was vaccinated en masse at the same time. So all of their antibody levels were high at the same time, and then they were all coming down at the same time. And then not only that, but when the Delta infection wave was going up, is when people were at the tail end of their antibody efficacy because they had been vaccinated some 6 months before that. So, you know, they leave out those kinds of things, those small details, but yet those details change the whole picture. You know, before you came on, Tomer, Oren and I was talking about how we're just getting our first booster now, right? But you guys are already on to your second booster, right?
Yeah,
And people
soon.
are going, oh, geez, you know, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. Well, yeah, listen, talk to the people who live in Israel. They're already on booster number 4 because they realize it does work. And not only that, if you look at them as a society, they are much closer back to normal than are we, right? Because we're still doing shutdowns, you know, rotating shutdowns, and you know, everybody's still wearing their mask, but we're doing shutdowns and all that kind of thing. So it's people have to really try to I don't know how to teach them, but the information is there, as you said, especially for COVID, because it's you know, it's right at the front of everybody's mind. But giving them the ability to be able to parse through that data to pick out what's important, and then also just not only what's important, but what is accurate, what is critical, what is valuable. Because as we said before, all studies are not the same. So trying to get people to understand just on a base level, superficial level, how to do that, and you know, that is something that is a very important task, very difficult to achieve, but I think that has to be part of what we do. And as I'm having this conversation with you, I think to myself, I need to do more of that in my videos. I kind of was showing papers before, then I kind of got away from it. But now thinking about this, I think that that's something that I need to bring back, because I think that is important for people.
It helps.
Yes. So tell me, gentlemen, what are your plans for your channel moving forward?
So
1 million subscribers.
That's the number.
that's the next goal. That's the next goal. Yeah.
There you go. And then, so if I look 5 years down the road and you project 5 years, what do you see 5 years down the road from now?
We'll probably hit 1 million in 5 years.
Yeah.
I think
But here
so.
in Israel, the population doesn't allow us. It doesn't allow it. I say it in a.
I mean, not now.
Not now, because the highest subscribed YouTube channel in the whole Israel is 500,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's a small country.
Yes.
But in 5 years, definitely 1 million, and then we'll get the gold. The
gold plaque.
Gold plaque.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, have you guys ever considered switching to English?
Yes. We tried.
And
so, look, if we're going to do it, I think it will be very good. I think we will be successful in English. I think, especially
then you go from little country
to a bigger country, like the whole world.
Whole world.
Yeah. And you give us a lot of motivation, at this
Yeah.
stage that we want to switch to English because we see your videos and your explanations, and it gives us motivation.
It's amazing. Amazing content, by the way. We love
Yeah.
your content.
Thank you. Thank you.
But it's a hard transition because we already have like a huge base in Israel. If we want to do both, I think there is a lot of content in the world because there are a lot of YouTube channel that's
Yeah.
related to fitness. So I think we can sometimes sometime in the future go to the English content. What do you think, Chris?
Listen, man, I think that there is a huge opportunity for you. I do think, yes, there are lots of fitness content providers on the internet, but as you said before, there are a few things unique that you guys have. Number one, the evidence-based approach, right? Which is a strong part of every video. Number two, the evidence-based approach, which was number one, but you are both jacked, okay? So it's not just some guy in a lab coat saying this is what should.
What? Do you see something?
Yeah.
Do you see something? I don't know if you can see something.
I see some pipes. I see some plumbing there, right?
Chris, did you see the restaurant there? The restaurant or the other restaurant?
No,
the other way.
I think it's that way. It's the other way.
That way.
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. There was too much pipes in the way. No, but listen. So this goes back to what I was saying about, say, for example, Chris Herrera. Okay, people look at your body and they go, "Oh, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy because he's jacked," right? So number one, I think there's an opportunity because you guys have an evidence-based approach, but part and parcel with that evidence-based approach, science-based approach, and you both are jacked, you both are strong, you both can do, you not only can talk the talk, but you can also walk the walk, right? So I think that's important. Number three, you guys are brothers, man. You guys are brothers, and you have this interplay. It's different than, you would have just with your friends, right? It's your brother, right? And so I think those three things would make it, would give you guys a unique sort of edge. And listen, I've started several channels. Dr. Chris is my main channel. I got a little podcast channel where I also put this stuff in addition to on Instagram. And then there's little channels that my wife and I manage as well. And starting a channel is onerous for sure. But I do think that you guys have the opportunity to do something. And it might mean a little bit more work in terms of like everything that you guys already do. You already do it in Hebrew. We can
film again.
You can film again the exact same content in English, right? The only thing that I think, is that probably you guys, just to make the work lighter, is that, right now you said you edit. I'm trying to get an editor, right? So because I recognize the bottleneck for me, so I'm trying to get someone to help with writing, okay, and somebody to help with editing, because that, to me, those are my bottlenecks, right? Because I work as a full-time surgeon, and we own a gym, and we run that business in addition to doing our YouTube. And right now it's just my wife and I, and then my son helps out a little bit. So if I had a staff, that's my next goal, is to make enough that I can hire a full-time editor and a writer so that I can have them, because then I can concentrate on making the content, just doing the content, filming it. Then I can give it to an editor, take care of that. They can do all of that stuff, right? And I don't know right now if it's just the two of you, but I think that if you did that, yes, then you would be able to just take the content. You don't have to do any additional work other than to film it twice, film it in Hebrew, film it in English. That's my personal thoughts.
I think
Yeah,
it's a good
but
idea. It's a great idea. And even, and you like gave me another idea. Even when we're filmed in Hebrew, we say the sentence in Hebrew, then the same sentence in English. So we don't need another day of filming.
Yes, yes, exactly. That's even better way to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Chris. But you said something that isn't so accurate. You said you're both brothers, but we have you. You're the third brother. Don't forget.
that's true. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, you know,
thanks for the motivation,
sorry,
Chris.
say
Thank
that.
you for the motivation.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. I love what you do, and I want to see you succeed. And I think it's a little bit of a crime that it's only in Israel. It's a little bit of a crime. We need to figure out how to bring it to the larger world, because I think that there's people outside of Israel all around the world that can benefit from this. So
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
no problem. So listen, it's been a great pleasure speaking to you guys, and talking about fitness, talking about internet, talking about YouTube. For people who want to see more of your content, where can they find you?
Levy's Fitness on YouTube.
But Levy's Brothers on YouTube in the English channel, in the future English channel.
All right.
Levy Brothers, like you call us. We'll call it Levy Brothers.
Just now. Yeah, Levy's Brothers on YouTube, and the videos will be there in 5 years. No, I think it will be less time than that, but
Okay, perfect. So for everybody who watched this interview and gave us your attention, we appreciate it very much. I want to thank both Oren, Tomer, Levy for being with me today to discuss these topics. Greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to collaborating with them again and hanging out with them again in the future.
Thank you
thank
for
you very
having us.
much, Chris.